Hello, and welcome back to the channel. Thanks for joining me. I want to just start first of all to say a big thank you to everybody who's reached out to assist my friend who wants to get back to this country from his country because there's some problems going on over there, and he's desperate to get back to the UK and carry on the good fight. And a lot of people have reached out with potential accommodation for him, said you can stay, I've got a room in my attic, or there's a caravan, or I've got a cottage, or whatever it is. I have been forwarding and passing a lot of those on to this particular individual, who is extremely grateful for your concerns and help. A number of you may not have had a reply back from me or indeed from this individual. And that's because it was just overwhelming. It was just overwhelming. I did not expect such kind, lovely, wonderful people to reach out in the numbers that you have. So big thank you for that. And whilst we're talking about emails, I just want to add to that. I am struggling. I don't have somebody to answer the emails on my behalf. So they all come into me, and I am struggling to get through them all. So I cannot promise to answer all the emails. I will try to read them all because there's some amazing information. Some people send me links to videos, which is very difficult for me to read. In fact, I'd rather, if you could, send me URLs to web pages, because I can scan read that and decide whether it's something that I find useful for the channel or not. But some people continue to send me 2-hour videos, and I just don't, there is not enough hours in the day. So mainly I'm just trying to say I apologise if I cannot get back to your emails. And if it's that important, please just send it again. Nag me. I don't mind you nagging me, because, you know, it's difficult because it also impedes my ability to get people on the show, because there's so many emails and so many of them. Some people are putting me on to round robin type things. And where I've negotiated with somebody to come on the show, a guest, to tell us something fascinating and interesting, I may not then see their reply to actually get them on the show. So I just thought, but I am extremely grateful for all of it, because you are, it's fantastic. People who are sending me the responses to perhaps freedom of information requests and their MPs and that sort of thing, brilliant. Just keep sending those in, but I apologise if I don't reply. So that's that. And of course, I'd just like to say a big thank you to everybody who's donated and made the channel possible, or subscribed and all of that. And it's worth double checking to see if you are subscribed or the bell notification is pressed, because it does seem on occasion some of the videos are throttled and they're not getting out to people, and they say, but somehow I've been unsubscribed. So do check that. Anyway, got that lot out of the way, and I appreciate all of that. There's a lot of people now thinking about this general election, of course, and that's going to be in the news. Now, I don't watch the telly, as you know. I don't read the papers. I don't want to be influenced by mainstream media, because it's all lies. It's all a load of old rubbish. I know that I certainly will not be voting at all in the election. There is nothing about the Conservatives, and there is nothing about the Labour Party. And I'm dubious about the strength that independents will have. Although, if I was voting and I was in the constituency of Andrew Bridgen, he would be the only one that I would vote for, because he seems to me the only honourable MP out there. But as I don't believe that voting is a thing, because I think what that does is it puts you into the jurisdiction of the UK corporation. And then you give your opinion, because the election really is only a poll. It's only representing an opinion. And I don't believe that the system is honourable or indeed truthful. And who knows how these things are actually genuinely being counted. Now, I know that there's people who will say, but you could vote and put I do not consent or none of the above, and that might work. Well, you're taking part, it seems to me, in the opposition's programme, if you like, where I believe, and you can disagree with me, you've every right to disagree with me, I believe it's stronger to not be part of the UK corporation and not be an employee, as I believe this sort of effectively makes you part of their corporation. I don't want any more of that. The none of the above, I think, is a great slogan, But what I would be interested in is a completely different type of government, a different type of administration, completely not the Houses of Parliament, not the House of Commons, not the executive, not their bunch of rules and regulations with Whitehall and all the civil servants and all of the machinations and the legalese and the legal business. I'm not interested in any of that. I think we are at a time in which that system is old, it's corrupt, it's fraudulent, and it has proved to be so. And I don't think there is anything that you can do. No sticking plaster is going to put it back together again. Now, I keep hearing people say, Richard, what we need is unity. We need people to come together. There's all these little groups. There's assemblies and there's communities. There's people doing sovereign work. There's people doing farming work. There's people doing health and well-being stuff. And they're all spread all over the place with their little assemblies and communities and groups and what have you. And that's very true. But I think that actually in and of itself is its strength. But what I think we do need, and what would be lovely if there are any richer people out there than the likes of my ordinary everyday viewers and myself included, we need to have a mirror, if you like, but an honourable mirror, a sort of sovereign government, an administration that is not a corporation, that doesn't have a registration on Dun and Bradstreet, doesn't have offices that are on Companies House as limited companies, that is effectively an assembly of people, the people of this country, who will make the decisions about the things they want, not what some tyrannical bunch of people in Westminster think that we want. And by the way, you'll have a bit of 5G radiation, digital IDs, a money system that is programmable in digital format, and so on, mandating certain medical interventions, deciding to give away the country's sovereignty to people like the WEF and so on, and the WHO. I think that system has proved that it does not work. Now, what it seems to me, and again, you can disagree, and this is only an idea, it's only an opinion, it's just a concept, and maybe it won't materialize. And I think I've said this in a video last year when it seemed very important then. It seems more important now we've got the election coming up, to make people perhaps just open their mind to different ideas. And the idea is simply this. These communities that we have, these groups, these little societies, these assemblies of people that are doing all their individual things all over the place, I think we need a large debating chamber, similar to the House of Commons, similar to having people come in, sitting and meeting and discussing in a debating chamber, but honourable, not like PMQs, not like Prime Minister's questions where it's just a Punch and Judy of politics, but where people have written something, they stand up and they read their something to the House, as it were, to the assembly of everybody, all these groups, and make their petitions for whatever it might be. And so that collectively, all these individual groups who represent their people and their way of thinking and their ideas going forward, which could be anything to do with health and farming and sovereignty and money creation and all of those things, where we have a separate, completely separate system altogether that's live streamed so everybody can watch it and hear the debates, hear the ideas, hear the kind of solutions that you and I might think would be worthwhile having, and potentially vote on them. Now, I just think this would be the first step. I mean, until the majority of the people said, do you know what? That system where we hear everybody putting up from grassroots upwards, putting up their ideas and putting forward good suggestions and policies, if I can use that word, so to speak, that might be acceptable to people and people in towns, villages and cities, when the vast majority of the population in this country start to realise there is an alternative idea, perhaps there will be a point in which they will move from the old traditional system, which they've paid in and have jurisdiction in, and slowly, like water, finding the line of least resistance, come over to a more honourable sovereignty way of life, a sovereign government in which everybody has equal say to come forward for potential fruition of these ideas. Perhaps it's done through some voting system, I don't know, or an election of an idea or whatever, but everybody would have their opportunity to stand up and say what they think. So that these groups that represent the people are coming together in one debating chamber so that the world, and particularly the country, can hear what other people want, what the real people want, what people want in their towns, for their families, for their businesses, and so on, rather than the warmongering bunch in Westminster who are telling us that they would like to go to war, that they're going to have to tax us a bit more, that there is a medical intervention for something which may or may not exist or is questionable, or they're going to do it at the speed of science and we find out there's so much corruption. That system that people think on the 4th of July, Independence Day, is a good idea, that system is falling apart. We've seen that it no longer works. It is not fit for purpose. There has to be another way. And just by having a debating chamber that these groups and individuals can come and talk about the nation's problems as they see it, and it's streamed and it's available on a website that people can read and understand what other people, genuine, everyday, ordinary people, really think and want and need for this country, then I think eventually people will start to say, this is the kind of governance that we want, not that one. I'd be interested in your thoughts. Do put them in the comments, and thank you for watching.